Today's lesson is 11-3, which is tax. So the first thing we did, we watched this video. Make sure you have your homework written down. And I want you to write down this first part, okay? It says a tax is an amount of money added to the price of certain goods and services. Tax is usually calculated as a percentage of the cost of the item. So the other way that we can solve for the amount of tax is by writing our what number question, okay, and setting up a proportion, okay? Or we can solve, just like they did in the video, using an equation. All right, example 1A, sales tax. It says Ashley is buying a laptop that costs $749. The sales tax rate in her city is 8 1/4%. What is the total cost for the laptop? And we want to round our answer to the nearest cent, okay? So first we want to write down our important information. So the first thing we know here is what? Right. So the laptop sells for $749. What else is important? Right. That sales tax rate in her city is 8 1/4%. And we want to know what is the total cost for the laptop. Is everyone with me? Now, I'm going to say, I'm going to point this out to you. Do you guys know how to write 1/4 as a decimal? How is that? 0.25. So can't I write this in my equation 8.25%? All right, very good. So the first thing we want to do, well, I want to write down a formula. So we want to find the tax, right? So sales tax is equal to, let me erase that and say tax is equal to the selling price times the tax rate. Now, before we put that tax rate percentage into the equation, what do I have to do to this again? What do I have to do to the percent before I put it? Yes, we need to change it to a decimal. Okay, so here's some reminders for you. Change to a decimal. So the selling price is $749, right? And then the tax rate, before we do that, remember we said we need to change this to a decimal. So we move the decimal 2 places to the left, annex that 0, and don't forget to take away the percent sign. Because once you've moved the decimal, you've already changed it from a percent to a decimal. So now we're going to multiply times 0.0825. 0.0825. Okay? So here, 61.7925. Now, I do not want you to round in the middle of a problem, okay? You always wait until the end to round. So we're going to write, 61.7925. Okay. Now, is that my final answer? No, what do I have to do? No, we're rounding to the end. We're rounding at the end. What do I do with that? That's the tax. Yep, we add it to what? Yeah, we're going to add to the selling price. So the final cost is the selling price. I'm going to put SP for selling price plus the tax. You guys writing down your formulas? Okay, so the selling price was $749 plus 61.7925. So this is what we get, 810.7925. Let's write that down. 810.7925. So now I can round to the nearest cent. Okay, that, you guys see this squiggly equal sign like this? That means is approximately equal to. Okay, so we're going to round to the nearest cent. So that means we're rounding to the hundredths place. Is everybody with me? So what does that 2 tell me to do? Stay the same. Remember, there's no such thing as rounding down, right? You stay the same. So this is going to give us $810.79. Very good. And that's our final cost. So now with example 2B, I mean 1B, I'm going to do this one with you also, but this time, you guys, we're going to use the percent proportion, okay? We're going to write a what number is question, okay? So it says Ryan wants to buy a sweatshirt that costs $42.99. The sales tax rate in his city is 7.5%. What is the total cost of the sweatshirt? Round your answer to the nearest cent. Bless you. Now, we want to first write a what number is question. What am I trying to figure out? Okay. So the question is, and you guys, here's the important information. The sweatshirt costs $42.99. The sales tax rate is 7.5%. That's the important information that you're supposed to be writing in your notebook, right? And we want to find out what is the total cost, okay? So the what number question is, what is, or what number is 7.5%? Can I write 7.5? You guys okay with that? Yeah. 7.5% of $42.99. You guys remember writing those questions? Now, do you remember your formula? Yeah. All right. So we've got percent over 100 equals part over whole. And remember the shortcut, we said the part was the is number and the whole is the of number. Remember we did that? Okay, so let's identify our pieces. So here this says what number is. There's my is number, right? Do I know what it is? No, because it says what, right? So that's going to be our X for the tax. And then we've got 75%. Of course, that's the percent, right? And then we've got of $42.99. That's the of number, so that is the whole. Is everybody clear? So now we can set up our proportion. So we've got 7.5%. So percent over 100. Do I have to change that 7.5 to a decimal? No, because it's already a percent, and the formula says percent over 100, right? Right? So we've got 7.5 over 100 equals the is number, that's the X, over the of number, $42.99. Am I clear? You remember how to solve it? What do I do? Very good. We cross multiply. So we're going to cross multiply. And we can use our calculators too. So 100 times X, 100X. 7.5 times $42.99. Let me move this over. 7.5 times $42.99. What'd you get? 322.425. Very good. 322. Point what? 425? 425. Now, what do I do with that? How do I get the X? Right. We're going to divide both sides by 100. Now, remember, dividing by 100 just means we're moving the decimal. Which way? To the left. How many times? 2 times, because there's 2 zeros, right? So, this is going to be 3.22425. Is everybody clear with that? So now, that is the tax, right? That is the tax. So what do I do with that? No, I'm not rounding yet. Right. So now we're going to get the final cost, which is the sale price plus the tax. Everybody good? So that's $42.99 plus 3.22425. So here we get 46 point, so this is 46.21425. Now, if I want to round to the nearest cent, what does that 4 tell me to do? Stay the same. So this is going to be $46.21, and that is my final cost. All right, so example 2A is hotel tax. Now, it says the cost of a hotel room for 5 nights is $610. You guys make sure you're writing down your important information. The hotel room costs $610. There is a 9.5% hotel tax, okay? And we want to know what is the total cost of the hotel room. And here it's telling us to use the percent equation. Okay, so this time we're going to use the equation. Okay? So here's our formula. So the sale price is $610. $610. And we're going to multiply that times the tax rate, which is 9.5%. And again, we have to change that 9.5% to a decimal. So we have to bloop, bloop, and take away the percent sign. So we're going to multiply times 0.095. So we've got 610, that's for the 5-night stay, times 0.095, and you get, very good. So $57.95. So we didn't even have to round anything, right? And what do I have to do with that? Right, very good. So the final cost is going to be the tax plus the sale price, right? So that's going to be $57.95 plus 610. Is that correct? Very good. So that's going to be $667.95. Everybody good? Any questions? So the first thing you need to do is you need to know that, see, it says $275 per night, and they're staying for 3 nights, right? So we have to multiply 275 times 3 nights to get 825. Now, to find the tax, I multiplied the sale price, 825, times tax rate, which is 14%. So we're going to change that percent to a decimal. So you have to multiply 825 times 0.14, and we got $115.50. That was a tax, $115.50. So then to get the final cost, we're going to add that tax to the sale price, which gives us $940.50. Example 3A, sales tax. It says, Jimena purchased $24 worth of crafting supplies. The tax rate in her city is 6.25%. So she purchased $24 worth of crafting supplies. The tax rate is 6.25%. You guys make sure you're writing down your important information. If Jimena has $40, we want to know how much will she have left? How much change is she going to get? Does everybody see there's an extra step in here? Okay, so what strategy do we want to use? Do we want to use proportion or equation? Okay, so this one we'll do proportion just because we did equation for the last one. Okay, so we want to find 6.25% of what? Right. So my question is, what number is 6.25% of $24? There's my what number is question. And again, the percent over 100 equals is over of. Okay? So let's piece it out. So here is my is number. I don't know what it is because it says what number, right? So that's the x. The percent is the one that has a percent sign next to it, right? 6.25. And on that one, we're also going to move that decimal 2 places to the left before I put it into the equation, right? And then the of number, that's the whole, is 24. Everyone with me? All right, so let's set it up. So we have, oh, wait a second. Did I have to change this to a decimal? No, no, not with the percent proportion. Good catch. Let me delete that out. So, when we set this up, we've got 6.25 over 100. Right. So the is number is the x. So that's x up here. And the of number is the 24. That's the whole. So now, how do I solve my proportion? Very good. So now we are going to cross multiply. Okay? So on one side, 100 times x is 100x. And then 6.25, 6.25 times 24, very good. That's 150. And then to get the x by itself, we will, good. So divide by 100 on both sides. Very good. What's 1.5? $1.50. Very good. So yes, and that is the tax. Okay? And what do I have to do with that tax? Add it to the sale price. Very good. So we've got $24 plus the $1.50, and that's going to give us $25.50, and this is my final cost, right? Make sure you label everything, okay? Final cost. Is that my final answer? No, what do I have to do now? Very good. So we want to do $40 minus $25.50. And what do you get? $14.50. So this is how much change she's going to have, right? All right, example 3B is sales tax again. It says, Irina purchased $87 worth of clothing at the local department store. The sales tax in her city is 6.5%. What is the total cost of the clothing? And round to the nearest cent. Now, I'm going to tell you that you can do either way. I'm going to do, because we did proportion last, the last one, I'm going to do the equation for this one. Okay? So, go ahead and do this one with your table partners. All right, so first thing we want to do is calculate the tax. So that's going to be the sale price times the tax rate. So the tax rate, first to put the percent into the equation, we have to change that to a decimal, 0.065. Then we get 5.655. Then to get the final cost, we want to add the tax to the sale price. So when we do that, we have 92.655, and of course, when we round to the nearest cent, that 5 tells us we need to round up. So we end up with $92.66. Is everybody clear? Now, I do want to tell you guys that you have to finish, you need to do this application at home. I will record it before the end of the day. All right, so example 4 is the application. It says David goes shopping at his local grocery store and buys the items shown in the table. In the city he lives, there is a 7.3% sales tax on all items except food. How much money does David spend at the grocery store? Round to the nearest cent if necessary. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to separate the food items and the non-food items. So the food items, we've got chicken, carrots, and potatoes, and I did CH carrots and potatoes up here. So you add those up and you get $10.79. Now, on this one, we are not getting charged on tax for this. So this is just a straight $10.79. Then we've got paper plates and napkins. So we've got, and those are the non-food items. So we've got paper plates and napkins. Add those together, you get $11.65. This he's gonna get charged tax on. So we're going to calculate our tax. We get 0.85045. Remember, I want you to round at the end. Okay, so this, when we put those together, the non-food total, once we add the subtotal of the paper towels and napkins, add the tax on, that gives us 12.50045, which, okay, we can go ahead and round that one, is $12.50. So this is the total for the non-food items. This is the total for the food items. Now, to get the total cost, the final cost, we're going to add the food items plus the non-food items, and that gives us the $23.29. Make sure you have that in your notes.